The car industry is changing faster than ever, and Stellantis is just the beginning. From AI-designed vehicles to self-repairing cars and subscription-based driving, the future of transportation is wilder than you think. But here's the real question. Who will dominate this revolution? And will traditional automakers survive? Today, we're diving into the future of the car industry, beyond giants like Stellantis. Because let's face it, the game is changing, and the winners of tomorrow might not even be car companies at all. The end of the traditional car company. Stellantis, the multinational automotive giant formed from the merger of Fiat Chrysler and PSA Group, is rapidly reshaping what it means to be a car company in the 21st century. With a portfolio of iconic brands like Jeep, Peugeot, Dodge, and Citroën, Stellantis is leveraging its global scale to embrace electrification, software integration, and mobility solutions far beyond traditional manufacturing. Rather than merely producing vehicles, Stellantis is positioning itself as a tech-driven mobility company, investing heavily in EV platforms, AI-powered in-car systems, and over-the-air software updates. This transformation is a bold signal that the era of the purely mechanical, gas-powered carmaker is fading fast. What truly sets Stellantis apart in this evolution is its aggressive commitment to digital innovation and sustainability. Through partnerships with tech firms and multi-billion-euro investments in battery plants and software development, the company is re-engineering its DNA to meet the demands of a connected, climate-conscious world. Its Dare Forward 2030 plan outlines a clear roadmap toward carbon neutrality and aims for 100% of sales in Europe and 50% in the US to be electric by the end of the decade. In abandoning the traditional blueprint, Stellantis is not just adapting to change. It's defining the new normal for the global auto industry. The subscription apocalypse refers to the growing backlash against the overwhelming rise of subscription-based services in nearly every industry, from streaming platforms and fitness apps to software tools and even car features. What once felt like a convenient, flexible alternative to ownership or one-time payments has evolved into a cluttered, costly web of monthly fees. Consumers are increasingly frustrated by the realization that they're locked into dozens of subscriptions, often paying more over time for services they only partially use. This fatigue is leading many to reevaluate their spending, cancel and use plans, and seek out simpler, more transparent pricing models. At the heart of the subscription backlash is a sense of lost control. Companies have leaned into micro-subscriptions, charging for features that were once standard. Think heated seats, navigation apps, or access to digital content. As a result, customers are feeling nickel and dimed, and trust in brands that over-monetize is eroding. The apocalypse isn't necessarily the end of subscriptions altogether, but a reckoning. Consumers are demanding more value, fewer restrictions, and the freedom to opt out without penalty. Businesses that don't adapt risk being left behind in a market that's quickly regaining its appetite for simplicity and ownership. The self-driving revolution is no longer a distant vision. It's an active battleground, and the rules are being rewritten in real time. The self-driving shakeup captures the current moment in autonomous vehicle AV development, where tech titans, legacy automakers, and nimble startups are racing to redefine mobility. Once dominated by hype and futuristic promises, the industry is now facing the gritty realities of scaling, regulation, safety, and consumer trust. Companies like Waymo, Cruise, and Tesla are making headlines not just for innovation, but for navigating accidents, legal scrutiny, and public skepticism, forcing a recalibration of what autonomy really looks like in the near term. This shakeup is also disrupting the automotive hierarchy itself. As software becomes the engine of progress, traditional automakers must evolve into tech-savvy mobility providers or risk irrelevance. Meanwhile, cities and governments are stepping in to regulate how AVs interact with pedestrians, public transport, and infrastructure. What emerges from this transitional period won't be a one-size-fits-all solution, but a patchwork of use cases: autonomous delivery bots in some neighborhoods, robotaxis in others, and driver assist systems everywhere in between. The road to full autonomy is no longer a straight line, but a winding path shaped by innovation, caution, and competition. The battery breakthroughs that change everything. The race to reinvent the battery is reshaping the future of energy, mobility, and technology as we know it. The battery breakthroughs that change everything refers to the wave of innovations transforming batteries from bulky, limiting components into sleek, high-performance power sources that unlock new possibilities. From solid-state batteries that offer faster charging and greater safety, to lithium silicon and sodium-ion alternatives that promise longer range and lower costs, these breakthroughs are breaking down the biggest barriers to mass electrification. They're not just improving electric vehicles. They're making them more affordable, efficient, and accessible, fueling the next leap in sustainable transport. Beyond cars, these battery advancements are revolutionizing how we store and use energy across the board. Grid-scale storage, wearables, smartphones, and even aviation are benefiting from the rapid pace of development. With global investments surging and major players, from Tesla and CATL to startups like QuantumScape, pushing the limits of what's possible, we're entering a new era where energy isn't just cleaner, but smarter and more adaptable. These battery technologies aren't just incremental upgrades. They're the foundation for a connected, electrified world, and they're arriving faster than anyone expected. The rise of the software-defined car. The rise of the software-defined car marks one of the most profound shifts in automotive history, where code, not combustion, becomes the engine of innovation. No longer just machines of metal and mechanics. Modern vehicles are increasingly powered by software platforms that control everything from infotainment and driver assistance to performance and safety updates. This transformation turns cars into rolling computers with centralized architectures and over-the-air (OTA) capabilities that allow continuous improvements long after a vehicle leaves the factory. Brands like Tesla pioneered the model, but now legacy automakers like Ford, GM, and Mercedes-Benz are racing to build their own digital ecosystems. What's driving this shift is more than convenience. It's a fundamental change in how automakers deliver value. The software-defined car opens the door to subscription-based features, app-like personalization, and real-time data integration, turning the driving experience into something dynamic and upgradable. At the same time, it demands a new approach to vehicle design, cybersecurity, and customer engagement. This isn't just about smarter cars. It's about creating platforms that evolve with the user, blur the lines between hardware and software, and ultimately redefine ownership in an age where updates are as important as engine specs. 3D printed cars. Factories in your garage? 3D printed cars once sounded like a sci-fi fantasy, but today they're edging closer to reality and potentially reshaping how vehicles are built, bought, and customized. By using additive manufacturing to create everything from body panels to structural components, companies like Local Motors and major automakers experimenting with 3D printing are proving that car production doesn't have to be locked inside massive, billion-dollar factories. Instead, it can be decentralized, flexible, and even local. Imagine printing replacement parts at home or small-scale production facilities tailoring cars to specific regional needs. It's not just efficient, it's revolutionary. This shift could democratize the auto industry in ways we haven't seen before. With fewer materials, less waste, and significantly shorter production timelines, 3D printing challenges the traditional supply chain and empowers both startups and DIY enthusiasts. While we're still a few steps away from full-scale, road-ready cars rolling out of garage-sized printers, the foundation is being laid. As the technology matures and regulatory frameworks adapt, the dream of factories in your garage becomes less far-fetched and more like the next frontier of truly personalized, on-demand manufacturing. The flying car scam, or reality. The idea of flying cars has long hovered between sci-fi dream and scammy vaporware. But lately, the line is getting blurrier. With companies like Joby Aviation, Archer, and even automakers like Stellantis investing in electric vertical takeoff and landing, eVTOL, aircraft, the concept is inching toward reality. These futuristic vehicles promise to revolutionize urban mobility, bypassing ground traffic with quiet, electric-powered flight. Stellantis, for instance, has partnered with Archer to help manufacture its Midnight Air Taxi, targeting commercial launch in the near future. But beyond the glossy renderings and hype reels lies a tougher question. Will flying cars really deliver on their promises, or are they just another high-tech distraction? The truth lies somewhere in between. While the technology behind eVTOLs is progressing fast. Thanks to advances in battery energy density, lightweight materials, and autonomous flight systems, major hurdles remain. Airspace regulation, infrastructure, safety standards, and public acceptance are massive obstacles, and many proposed timelines seem overly optimistic. Still, with billions in funding, serious engineering, and growing government interest, flying cars are no longer just fantasy. They may not replace your morning commute anytime soon, but they're laying the groundwork for a new layer of urban transportation, one where taking off might one day be as casual as calling a rideshare. The circular economy, cars that never die. The concept of the circular economy is transforming the auto industry, pushing it beyond the traditional take, make, dispose model toward a more sustainable future, one where cars are designed to never truly die. Beyond Stellantis, which has already launched initiatives to reclaim and remanufacture parts, other global automakers are embracing circularity by designing vehicles with recyclability, reuse, and second-life applications built in from the start. From modular components and easily replaceable parts to entire EV batteries repurposed for energy storage, the goal is to extend a vehicle's life far beyond its first owner and to recover value at every stage of its life cycle. This shift isn't just environmental, it's strategic. As raw materials like lithium and rare earth metals become more expensive and politically fraught, automakers are realizing that recycling and reusing parts isn't just good PR, it's good business. Brands like Renault are turning old factories into remanufacturing hubs, while startups are building platforms around refurbishing and reselling EV components. In a circular economy, waste becomes a resource, and cars become more like ecosystems than endpoints. It's a bold vision, one where the vehicle you drive today might one day help power a grid, build another car, or be reborn entirely. No scrapyard required. The dark side. Why big tech wants your car data. As vehicles become smarter, more connected, and increasingly software-driven, they're also becoming gold mines of personal data, and big tech wants in. From GPS locations and driving habits to biometric data and voice commands, modern cars generate massive streams of information. Tech giants see this not just as data, but as currency, fueling targeted advertising, predictive analytics, and even new revenue streams from in-car apps and services. The dark side? Much of this is happening with minimal transparency, leaving drivers unaware of just how much of their digital footprint is being tracked, stored, and potentially sold. This growing appetite for car data raises serious privacy and ethical concerns. Unlike your smartphone, your car moves through the physical world, revealing not just what you do online, but where you go, who you see, and how you behave. With companies from Apple and Google to Amazon expanding their footprint in the automotive space, the car is becoming the next frontier for data monetization. Without stricter regulation or clearer opt-in policies, drivers could soon find themselves at the center of yet another data economy, one where convenience comes at the cost of autonomy and privacy. The end of traffic? AI's secret plan to fix gridlock. The dream of ending traffic congestion is becoming a more realistic possibility, thanks to the rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, AI, and smart city technologies. AI's secret plan to fix gridlock goes beyond just self-driving cars. It's about reimagining how entire transportation systems operate. AI can optimize traffic flow in real time, adjust signals dynamically based on traffic patterns, and predict congestion before it happens. This ability to analyze massive data sets from cameras, sensors, and connected vehicles will help cities create seamless mobility networks that reduce bottlenecks and improve overall efficiency. It's a coordinated effort that combines autonomous vehicles, public transportation, and infrastructure, all working in sync to keep the roads moving. Beyond Stellantis and the auto industry, tech companies and urban planners are working together to integrate AI into smart city infrastructure. Concepts like AI-powered traffic management systems and predictive analytics for public transit are already being tested in cities like Singapore and Los Angeles. These technologies don't just optimize traffic, they reshape the urban landscape, allowing for more efficient use of space, fewer emissions, and shorter commute times. While the end of traffic may sound utopian, the first steps toward that vision are already unfolding, and with AI steering the future of transportation, gridlock could soon be a thing of the past. The Netflix of cars. Why nobody will own a vehicle by 2040. The concept of the Netflix of cars is set to radically transform the way we think about vehicle ownership by 2040. Instead of buying and maintaining personal cars, consumers could subscribe to a vehicle service that offers access to a variety of cars on demand. This shift is being fueled by the rise of shared mobility platforms, connected services, and advancements in autonomous driving. Just as streaming services replaced DVD collections, car subscriptions aim to replace the traditional car ownership model. Companies like Volvo, BMW, and even startups like Canoe are already experimenting with vehicle-as-a-service models, allowing users to access cars as needed through flexible subscriptions, often bundled with maintenance, insurance, and even charging. Beyond Stellantis, this vision suggests a future where owning a vehicle will become increasingly unnecessary, especially in urban centers where shared fleets of electric, self-driving cars could serve as personalized, on-demand transportation. With advancements in car-sharing services, vehicle subscriptions, and autonomous fleets, the need for individual ownership diminishes, especially as cities become more congested and sustainable alternatives take the forefront. In this future, cars won't be a commodity tied to personal ownership, but service that's rented as needed, providing people with greater flexibility and reducing the environmental impact of mass car production. As we look toward 2040, the Netflix of cars could well define a world where car ownership is a relic of the past. The hidden war, China's plan to dominate EVs, and why the West is losing China's dominance in the electric vehicle, EV, market has become one of the most critical geopolitical and industrial stories of the 21st century. With ambitious government policies, massive state-backed investments, and a rapidly evolving technology ecosystem, China is positioning itself to dominate the global EV market. The country has already surpassed the West in several key areas, most notably in the production of lithium-ion batteries, EV manufacturing, and the development of charging infrastructure. Companies like BYD, NIO, and XPeng are not just leading the charge domestically, but are quickly expanding into international markets, offering vehicles that rival Western counterparts in terms of technology and price. China's extensive investments in raw materials and battery production give it a crucial edge in a market where supply chains for critical minerals like lithium, cobalt, and nickel are fiercely contested. The West, however, is finding itself on the defensive in this battle. Despite the technological advancements of American and European automakers, the scale of investment and strategic planning in China has given its companies a significant head start. While Tesla remains a formidable player globally, it's competing against a growing wave of Chinese EV manufacturers that are not only lower cost, but also more deeply integrated into the future supply chain of electrification. This disparity in scale is a significant obstacle for Western companies, which are often restricted by higher labor costs, regulatory hurdles, and an inability to vertically integrate their supply chains to the extent China can. The Chinese government's aggressive support for homegrown EV firms through subsidies, favorable policies, and large-scale manufacturing hubs ensures that they have a clear path to scale far more rapidly than their Western competitors. What's more, China's plans for EV dominance extend well beyond cars. The country is heavily investing in the technologies and infrastructure that will underpin the future of transportation, from electrobuses and trucks to the expansion of nationwide charging networks and ultra-fast battery production. This holistic approach to electrification is where China has gained a major advantage over the West, which still operates in more fragmented, less integrated ecosystems. China's long-term strategy includes cornering the global market for both the raw materials needed for EV production and the technologies that will enable autonomous driving and smart vehicle ecosystems. This gives China not only the upper hand in EV production, but also the power to influence the future direction of global transportation technologies. The challenge for the West is how to catch up and reclaim lost ground in this high-stakes race. While initiatives like the European Green Deal, the Biden administration's EV policies, and significant investments in domestic battery production are steps in the right direction, they're often too fragmented and slow to challenge China's head start. The West's fragmented regulatory environment, slower adoption of shared mobility solutions, and reliance on foreign supply chains for critical raw materials only exacerbate the situation. For the West to regain competitiveness, it will need a more cohesive, long-term strategy that integrates infrastructure, manufacturing, and innovation across countries and industries. As China accelerates its plans to dominate the global EV market, the West faces a stark choice: adapt swiftly to the changing automotive landscape or risk falling behind in a sector that will define the future of transportation. Stellantis' last stand? Inside their make-or-break future, Stellantis finds itself at a critical juncture in its history. Formed from a merger of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and PSA Group, the automotive giant must navigate a rapidly changing industry landscape if it hopes to stay competitive. With global brands like Jeep, Peugeot, and Chrysler under its belt, Stellantis has a solid foundation, but the future of the company hinges on its ability to adapt to the forces reshaping the auto industry, namely the shift to electrification, digital transformation, and an increasing demand for sustainability. The company's Dare Forward 2030 plan is a bold blueprint, aiming for carbon neutrality by 2038 and a massive pivot toward electric vehicles, EVs. But the execution of this vision will determine whether Stellantis remains relevant or risks becoming obsolete. The stakes are high. Stellantis is stepping into an arena where traditional automotive manufacturing is being upended by electric vehicle startups, autonomous technologies, and software-defined cars. Companies like Tesla, Rivian, and traditional automakers like Volkswagen are aggressively pushing forward on electric models and advanced driver assist technologies. Stellantis, with its sprawling global operations and diverse brand portfolio, faces the challenge of standardizing EV platforms across multiple regions,